China said, man, we're not going to do shit, man. I promise you. We are not going to give Donald Trump anything. We will wait here until you guys grow up, until you guys realize that your plan, your campaign promises, I know you promised the rednecks that you're going to challenge China, but once you grow up and get back to reality, we will be back to do business with you. And that's exactly what happened. So as MAGA and their Fox News media is in full-blown cope mode and lying to the American people about what's happening, Fox News like, this has been an amazing victory for Donald Trump. Like, he just got the status quo back. Just to show you how depraved our system is, our society is, and I want to drill it through the people's head who believe that all these countries are created equal. Like, you don't understand the systems of imperialism. You don't understand how imperialism is tied to who control the financial markets and how the United States dominate financial markets. And that's a key part of imperial. Like, there's so many people who don't even understand that central argument. That's what a lot of the Trotskyite people are missing. That's what the social democrats are missing. Like, oh, we got to condemn. No, there's a system of imperialism, a system of capitalism that every other socialist country have to plan their system around that just to survive. The people who are victims of the system of imperialism are countries like Cuba and Venezuela and North Korea and DPRK who are sanctioned to death. Meanwhile, you have the Zoran Mamdani left. They're like, don't you know that Cuba is a tyrannical country? Sir, your government that you're about to work for is waging economic war against Cuba. How dare you? But the reason why they do that is because they don't have an actual critique of imperialism coming from the lens of class war. If he did, he wouldn't be going around saying that Nicolas Maduro is a tyrant as a social democrat in the United States like Zoran Mamdani and Bernie Sanders do. I'm very excited that you guys think you're going to have lower prices in New York, but it's just another example of how social democrats enable imperialism. How Zoran Mamdani condemning the Palestinian resistance, condemning the language, condemning the organization structure actually has done more harm than good. How he legitimized the anti-Semitism crackdown. That he's now he got a Zionist who's gonna lead the NYPD. I told you so. So I'm literally listening to my Palestinian friends. It's not me. I'm literally listening to Nerdim, our good friend. Many of our Palestinian friends, like, he has done damage to our movement. When the Zionist talking points that he legitimized, and then they come from the right, repeating the same empire talking points, and it undercuts the Palestinian activists. Because once someone with credibility and big clout like Zoran Mamdani condemns globalized the Intifada, it makes everyone else seem crazy. It shifts the Overton window to the right, which is the goal of these people. But congratulations, you guys won your popularity contest, I guess. You guys had this moment of celebration, I guess, but it's so obvious how why the empire allowed them to win, why Hakeem Jeffries is now endorsing them. That's why. So these people, why they spend their time condemning the states that the empire wants them to. Like the Mamdani family, they're part of the free Syria regime change. Like, have they said anything about the head choppers in Syria? That's what Zoran's wife, she was a free Syrian activist. Like, is there any comments about how it's going in Syria? How Israel completely destroyed their sovereignty, stole a part of Syrian land, and how the United States and Israel is stealing Syrian resources, including their water? Are the Mamdanis ever going to comment on that? You know, that's what his wife supported. All the free Syria people have nothing to say about Syria anymore. Have you guys noticed that? All right, let me get back on target, because I went on that rant because I'm frustrated with the United States left, who go on and repeat CIA talking points against what they call and what the capitalist class call tyrannical regimes. But what's more tyrannical than this? I would dare any social democrat. Like, you guys saw how Ro Khanna didn't do well. You guys saw how Marianne Williamson didn't Didn't go do well. Can you imagine? Give me 5 minutes with Zoran Mamdani, and I'm going to destroy him. I will ask him and all the other social democrats to simply define authoritarianism. Why does Zoran, Bernie Sanders, why do they condemn Cuba? Why do they condemn Russia? But they have nothing to say about the UK, where free speech is non-existent. The UK is arresting doctors and putting them on trial in the UK, arresting journalists for criticizing the state of Israel. Has Zoran Mamdani, has Marianne Williamson, has any of these people condemned the UK as a fascist state? They have not. In fact, AOC, the big brain, she said, I want socialism like the UK. Look it up. Look it up. That's the dumb left, fam. They got full-fledged fascism in the France, the UK, and Germany. But social democrats love these states. Don't you know they got healthcare, guys? Yeah, they do a little fascism, but they got healthcare. Yes, Sweden voted to enable genocide in Yemen, but don't you know they got a social safety net? That's how empire puppets think. Only 11% of 18 to 9. Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't read this headline. My bad. I keep going on tangents. But my point, like, this is what a real authoritarian state looks like. Where not only does the United States don't believe you have the right to food, they don't believe you have the right to feed people who are hungry. We have a state that is arresting 90-year-olds who are feeding homeless people. These are kind of things that capitalists can't even explain. We can't solve the food insecurity crisis. That will harm big food. This is sick. I think we may reschedule Carl's out, but you guys know I'm just getting warmed up. I can fit. Yeah, I'm running tonight. So I think we may have to reschedule Carl's out, but hey, man, I'm just getting started. So as the United States decides they're not going to track the hunger crisis anymore because they have no solutions for it, China has made this a core central tenet of their government. A big part of their central planning model is lifting people out of poverty and feeding their people. And it had massive success. Look at China, a model for zero hunger. July 2025. It's an old story in the sense that China has been doing it for the last 10 years. Compared it to our country, this is China who actually values their working class. Where I think this was yesterday, they was celebrating their sanitation workers. This is what they do in China while they tell you you're working. Actually, I could not play that music. I can't play that music at all. I think we probably get in trouble for it. But this is how you guys see how they have completely different values. Where the working class, this is why they can't stand the democracy in Cuba. They can't stand the democracy in Venezuela. Because in Venezuelan democracy, you have ordinary people. You have teachers. You have construction workers. You have librarians. You have farmers who are able to run and gain power in the political system. That's the system they view as authoritarian. Meanwhile, our capitalist class is owned by Jeffrey Epstein, the Mossad. I saw this I thought this funny. So Donald Trump dancing with. This is kind of wild because like this man has butchered so many Palestinians and so many Muslims. Look at this. And I feel their pain here because Trump is on his Asian tour to counter the rise of China. He's supposed to be meeting in Japan to meet with the new prime minister Sanae Takaichi, the far right girl boss, the first ever female prime minister, who's essentially the new empire puppet. Someone who praised Margaret Thatcher, who said she looks up to Margaret Thatcher. So he's in Asia trying to negotiate with Asian countries to separate and isolate themselves from China. And this story, and this is one of our main stories of the day, is the trade war that Donald Trump started with Xi Jinping. And it's hilarious because if you look at the framework, they announced a framework for a deal. It's essentially Donald Trump and MAGA celebrating the return of the status quo. So Donald Trump and MAGA started a trade war with China and got their ass whooped so bad that China was like, all right, bro, we're not going to buy any soybeans. We're going to go to Brazil. Hey, Brazil, what's up? They were like, what's good? You got some soybeans we can buy? And now the Trump economy, and this is close to home to me because Missouri economy is going to get hit hard by this. But Missouri farmers face crisis as China halts soybean purchases. So when the trade war started, and I covered this in the beginning, what did I tell you guys? I told you guys China's response was like, bro, don't do this. If you do this, we're going to show you who's really in charge. We're going to show you who really had the leverage here because we can expand our markets. We have higher purchasing power, parity than you guys do. We actually have a manufacturing base. You guys do not want to engage in a trade war. And Fox News hyped themselves up like, oh my God, Donald Trump is going to take on China. Fam, they are being humbled. And now they hit this framework deal where essentially everything that Donald Trump got was things that was already part of the status quo. Look, further cooperation to the stem a flow of fentanyl into the United States. So now that's what you guys consider a victory? This is what China was doing before. If you guys listen to Xi Jinping and the Chinese government, they were very open about they have a zero drug tolerance policy in China. They're more than happy to work with the United States to block the flow of fentanyl. Then the right wing, in order to get people to turn against China, in order to promote their anti-China propaganda, they say, oh, well, we can't work with China. They refuse to work with us on fentanyl. This has always been on the table. So you guys realize that bullet point one is already just the Trump administration returning to the status quo and just pure code. China to buy substantial amounts of U.S. soybeans. Fam, China was responsible for over half of the soybean market in the United States. It was a giant part of the Missouri economy, where our largest crop that we export is soybeans. And China dominated that market. Trump hurt farmers in his first term, waging a half-hearted attempt of a trade war against China, where many Missouri farmers went bankrupt, where they had to do a bailout for Missouri farmers. So essentially, Trump launched his tariff war against China. And what's the first thing that China said? China's like, all right, man, if you don't stop, we will stop buying soybeans and we will fuck up your entire agricultural economy. And the MAGA was like, oh, you're not going to do shit. You're not going to do shit, bro. You ain't going to do shit. And then they stopped buying soybeans and they went hard, zero purchase of United States soybeans. They went to Brazil. They went to other markets, and they immediately crashed the economy. Farmers are going bankrupt. Look, Missouri farmers face crisis as China halts soybean purchases. So the corporate media is doing a horrible job explaining this, But do you guys understand what just happened here? China was already buying soybeans. Donald Trump started a trade war, and they said, "Go fuck yourself. We can easily crash the soybean market." Now Donald Trump came back and negotiated, and essentially what they gave him was, "Hey man, all right, I guess we start buying your soybeans again. I hope you learned your lesson, champ." How did that trade war against us go, champ? And when China was asked about Donald Trump's tariffs and what they will give up in order to join the negotiation table with Donald Trump, China said, "Man, we're not going to do shit, man. I promise you. We're not going to give Donald Trump anything. We will wait here until you guys grow up, until you guys realize that your plan, your campaign promises, I know you promised the rednecks that you're going to challenge China, but once you grow up and get back to reality, we will be back to do business with you." And that's exactly what happened. So as MAGA and their Fox News media is in full-blown cope mode and lying to the American people about what's happening, Fox News like, this has been an amazing victory for Donald Trump. Like, he just got the status quo back. Look at the third bullet point. To prove my point even more, China could delay export controls on rare earth minerals. So back to the status quo. So what was another weapon that China had in the back pocket? China said, "Hey man, we're going to apply export controls on rare earth minerals that you guys desperately need for your tech industry." And all the tech bros, all the capitalists, they're like, "You ain't going to do shit. It's not going to matter." And then China put export controls on the rare earth minerals. And they were like, "Oh shit, we're fucked." So then Trump went back to G like, "Oh, sorry, daddy. I know I'm an idiot. I know I started a trade war that I had no chance of winning. They're going to hurt my economy, hurt my farmers, hurt our tech industry, hurt all the industries that need rare earth minerals, like the auto industry is a big one." They were being hurt bad because of the trade war that Donald Trump started. And this is why I told you guys, what, Zoya, 8 months ago? I told you guys exactly how this was going to go. And I saw a few, like, you guys know I have some MAGA people who follow me. They was upset. They were like, "Nick, you just love China. You just a China nut." Remember Zoya? You guys remember that? They was like, "You just say China will always." Here's a perfect example of what we're talking about. And now, in order for a desperate Hail Mary, something to show to the American people, they say, "Oh, we got to finalize a deal over TikTok ownership." Pure code. You telling me that you started a trade war that destroyed the lives of farmers, that hurt the auto industry, and tanked financial markets over TikTok? Do you guys really believe that? That is not what happened. That is not what happened at all. They just desperate to show people, "Oh, we got to win. We got to win somewhere." No, guys, we didn't get our ass handed to us. That's exactly what fucking happened. They got their ass handed to us, and they're like, "Hey, guys, at least we got them floating the idea." They didn't even fully agree to it. They're like, they're floating the idea of approving the TikTok deal. Now, that's what you got. That's your big victory that you've been fighting for. Man, I need I almost want to show you guys one of the Fox News segments where it was trying to convince the people who won this. I don't have a ton of time though. I need to find that because they had one with Gordon Chang where he was like, "Trump got China exactly where he wanted." I'm like, "Oh my god, bro, the pure code." But I'll move on. I guess I'll move on for now. Here's another failure of Donald Trump's policy against China. Was he wanted to separate and isolate China on the world stage. But by applying tariffs on India, it showed that he had no idea what he was doing. And remember, this is what Fareed Zakaria on CNN, this is what he was talking about. He was like, "Hey, man, what you're going to do is you're going to push India toward China." And that's exactly what happened. Not only does he have India more willing to do business with China, These idiots put tariffs on the EU, and now even EU countries like Sweden and France, even Emmanuel Macron, he was like, you gotta know I'm down for some neocon shit too, man. I'm all down for some anti-China shit, but the United States kind of lost their damn mind. And now we kind of want to do more business with China. They realized that they committed economic suicide. In countries like Germany and the UK, they're still too stupid to get it. Keir Starmer, he put out some weak statements. We said we got to reconsider our trade relationship with China. But for the most part, they're still going along with the West, trying to cut down on the dependence from China. But people like France, like, we're done. And you have Canada, and you guys think the Canadians been pissed at Donald Trump over the tariffs in Canada. They had an ad they played with Ronald Reagan condemning tariffs, and now Donald Trump lashed out and put more tariffs on Canada after that. So now Canada's like, bro, I swear to God, you gotta see how every single move that they made benefit China. Every single step that they made, everything that Scott Bessent said was going to happen did not happen. Because now Canada is like, all right, bro, you know we down for some imperialist shit too. But I swear to God, if you guys keep fucking with us, we're going to go look at China as well. Now, this headline blew my mind, fam. I don't know if I'm late on this, but this headline blew my mind. Canada set to side with China on EVs. Oh, Jesus Christ. So you had Western governments, because they failed to compete in a true free market against China EVs, who destroys American EVs. I sold cars, fam. I sold Lexuses, electric vehicles. I sold Camry hybrids. I sold Prius. I sold a ton of electric cars in my 4-year career as a car salesman before I did this. Bro, our electric vehicles don't have shit on. I cannot emphasize this enough. I cannot. I cannot emphasize this enough. There will be no car sale. There would be no industry in the United States if we allow Chinese EVs in. They are completely superior than our cars. Not only are they superior in our cars in every way, they are cheaper, my friends. So Canada, by allowing EVs and dropping the embargo on them, Canada is going to have access to high-quality electric vehicles for around $10,000. The American auto industry is about to get destroyed if what I'm reading here is true. And this is our friend S.L. Catton, who is tweeting this out as well. And this is why I found this. Big shout out to our friend Catton. We had him on a few times. He says Canadians will soon be driving cool electric cars that cost only $10,000. Oh, Jesus Christ. Bro, the American market auto industry will be cooked in Canada. And I don't know the numbers on top of my head, but Canada purchases of the American auto industry is a gigantic part of what the auto industry makes. Like, Canada is a big part of the auto industry, so this will be a big hit. So let me continue the tweet. Meanwhile, Americans will still be burdened with 1.6 trillion in auto loans. That's another metric that the corporate media never talk about. Is how many Americans, you guys know there's a record amount of Americans who are upside down in their cars. Which there's a massive amount of Americans that went in debt. There's a massive amount of Americans a record amount that has auto debt right now. The same way there's a record amount of Americans that are in credit card debt. And here's an article I found on that. There's a record amount of Americans that are behind on their car payments. But meanwhile, the capitalist class, they want to keep talking about GDP growth. Those metrics do not reflect how the working class is doing. The working class of China is not only doing much better than ours, but because they don't have this massive amount of debt in their society. We have a country full of debt slaves, wage debt slaves. And what we want to do as communists is we want to lift the debt off of the American working class. We want to cancel the debt that the fraudulent mismanagers of our society plunge on an entire generation of Americans. We want to free the American people. We want them to have pride in their work. We want to put Americans to work, have a jobs guarantee. We want them to have purchasing power, have pride, and have a family where they only have one breadwinner. Instead of putting families in debt where both the husband and the wife have to work, let's value work so much that you can have one breadwinner in the house. We can have paid family maternity leave. We have a true pro-family policy. And we have a third party that can outline this shit. We would dominate. And I strongly agree with that. And that's what my friend Eddie Liger was talking about. That our friend Haas was talking about. That what communists, that what we said. Our platform is freeing the American class from usury debt that come from the vile fascist capitalist class.